Glossing over the unwanted kiss from Joe Cullen to Kirk Bevins, our caller there. 8 places below him in the world rankings, who had to survive 8 match darts in his opening round game against the German qualifier René Berndt last night. However, the big caveat is that there are 5,000 rowdy Dutch people in this hall in Maastricht who will be cheering on the underdog, Captain Jimi Hendriks. About a quarter of their number got him over the line last night against René Berndt.
First leg, Jimmy to throw first. Game on.
Can Captain Jimmy plot a course through to the final day of the Dutch Darts Masters here in Maastricht? There won't be many cheering Cullen on in this crowd. Can he upset the hall here, Rob Malarkey?
100.
Well, the other caveat as well is that we've seen 5 seeded players lose so far today. And if that particular trend is to continue, yeah, I see no reason why not. Hendriks will have to take a lot from this huge swathe of people behind him if he's to give himself a fighting chance. As you say, Joe Cullen, 2 PDC ranking titles to his name, enjoying the best year of his career by far, winning Players' Championship 8 and 16.
125.
Who has been as far as a semi-final on the European Tour stage as well. That was last year.
58. Jimmy require 142.
And a 2-time quarter-finalist this year as well. And a semi-finalist as well in Vienna, let's not forget.
Yeah, he's been playing excellently, Joe. Hugely impressed with him. Well, going the difficult route, Jimi Hendriks for the 142, but with Cullen not on a finish, going that bullseye route, you hit the 25, yeah, you're not going to take out the big finish,
59.
But single 17 gives you 3 darts at tops. So a sensible way for the captain to go.
I like that. A sensible way for the captain to go.
No score.
That wasn't particularly sensible, but no. He's going to have another crack at it.
96. Jimmy require 40.
Well, 5 darts missing 92. Very, very high, and 1 pulled low. Double. Yeah, that was a route.
56. Jimmy required 20.
Well, Jimmy was 6 from 9 on his doubles yesterday in that win against René Berndt. Joint best stats of the session, or both sessions, I should say, with Kirk Shepherd and De Decker. Finding hard to come by here, but eventually finding double 5.
Second leg is Joe to throw first.
Giving him a full gun to the crowd as well.
Yeah, well, he's already missed vastly more darts at double in that leg than he did in the whole game against René Berndt.
Yeah. It was just an astonishing match that against Berndt yesterday. Berndt averaged 100.69, the highest of any of the losing players yesterday. He hit 5 180s.
23.
But 5 out of 16 on doubles, including
8
those
for the match
darts that passed him by.
8. That is a savage dart to see fall out of the board there. It looked like it fell out the 60, and it might have been 5 perfect darts to start that leg for Joe Cullen. As it is, it's all academic because it has been proven it is physically impossible to hit a 9 dart on the European Tour. Ever since Ross Smith did it, at any rate.
134.
Cullen's also hit his first competitive 9 darter this year as well. That's another feather in his cap for 2017, let's not forget.
Yeah, did it back in March, I believe.
Against
45.
Jim Brown.
Joe, you require 107.
Good response this from Joe Cullen after a disappointing opening start.
55.
But it's kind of a mirror image from that first leg, really. Yeah. On throw, it looks like they've got all the time in the world to hold with their opponent 200 points behind and not applying any pressure. In the end, Hendriks allowed Cullen to sneak up behind him, and he got the job
79. Joe, you require 52.
Will Cullen be quite so generous?
Well, can't really afford to be.
44.
Well, he might.
Was it 5-2 that
62.
Rene Burnt led last night?
You require 8.
Cullen could do with a similar cushion here today.
Shot on the
well,
second
just in
leg.
case
Joe
the
Cullen.
tide turns
So
with the
it's
crowd.
Jimmy to throw first. Game on.
That was the key point. Rene Burnt, the crowd were not a factor for the first 7 legs of that game. There may have been a noise in the very first leg, cheering their man on, but he silenced them by just playing fantastically.
100.
And it's only when he started missing darts for the match that they really started to get rowdy again. Now, if Cullen can just
26.
cut that out, and scores of 26 are not going to help him.
The 180 is backed up by a 5.
69.
And a 7 and a treble 19.
95.
Really impressed with Cullen as well at the World Match Play. I know he lost to Van Barneveld, but he staged a really good fight back, didn't he?
Yeah, you know what? He was so. I genuinely thought
8-3 down.
that he, and he hadn't played
52.
poorly at that point. Barney was just doing one of those Barney displays where he seems to let opponents get close to him in legs and just keeps
100.
finishing under pressure, keeps taking out the doubles. Cullen was right there with him all the way through that match, and it did change towards the end, and I thought he was going to turn it around, Joe Cullen. I thought Barney looked like a bit of a beaten man, but he staggered over the line.
Well, at 9-8 down, I think he missed a double 10
100.
from a 140 finish. And
I think had it gone to a tiebreaker, I think the smart money might have been on Cullen in that situation.
180.
And he's back in this
Jimmy
leg,
require
both men on
100.
100. Treble 20 tops. Tops, it has to be. It has to be. It has to be, Captain Jimmy.
60. Joe, you require 100.
Well, I think that there,
41.
oh my word. Joe Cullen has thrown one bang down the middle because he couldn't decide whether to go for the treble 20 or the double top. In the end, he did neither, and then he's chucked one in the
Shot on
wall.
the third leg. Jimmy Hendriks. Fourth leg is Joe to
that
throw
has
first.
partially enabled
Game on.
Hendriks to win the third leg. And the Dutchman leads by 2 legs to 1. Best run in Europe this year for Joe
134.
Cullen, then that run to the semi-finals in Vienna. Then had to cut short his European Open campaign in Leverkusen in order to fly home to be with his father after he'd suffered a heart attack. So, I mean, when
59.
you look at what he did in Blackpool, that was obviously still in the background as well. I mean,
He went on and won his second title shortly after that. I mean,
59.
it was
in Barnsley,
astonishing display from Joe Cullen, having gone through what he had just gone through. Dad thankfully recovering.
140.
So, good news on that front.
Zoran Lerschbacher, the man he beat in the final. What a run that was.
78.
Don't mess with the Zora. He was very impressive that day, was Lerchbacher. Looking to follow in the footsteps of his fellow Austrian Mensur Suljevic in dedicating himself to playing the full tour. Even though he's not got a tour card, Zoran, but he's invited to make up the numbers because he did so well in Q School, just missed out on a tour card, so he makes up the numbers. And so he's playing everything, and it's paying dividends. So, as we've said so many times before, playing against the best week in, week out is a pretty reliable way of improving your own standard.
Yep. Just while we're at this stage, just to illustrate what the
85.
colour seeds means for the
130.
bottom half of the draw. It's opened things right up for them. Dan, sorry.
Jimi Hendrix here, right? Last night we were
Burnt.
chastising Rene Burnt for leaving 162 on 2 separate occasions, including in the deciding leg. Jimi Hendrix, he's missed the 20 with that last dart, but it would have left him 162. Learn, man. Learn from your opponent's mistakes as well as your own.
Joe, you require 34.
Yeah, Rene Burnt got away with it with the first
Game shot
instance
on
in
the
leg
fourth leg.
7, but
Joe
not
Cullen.
in the final instance.
Fifth leg
And
is
Joe
Jimmy to
Cullen,
throw first. Game on.
yeah, seizing on that and levelling things up at 2 apiece.
$60.
Gerwyn Price, Alan Norris, Ian White, Jelle Klaassen. The seeded casualties in the bottom half alone.
140.
Things are very, very open indeed in that bottom half. Peter Wright is still there. He plays later against Jim Walker. Rob Cross, the only seed through so far, potentially lying in wait for Peter Wright in the next round.
91.
Yeah, and Peter Wright, Rob Cross, potentially. I mean, Peter Wright's the heavy favourite for Jim Walker. Don't write Jim Walker off, of course. But if Peter Wright were to come through that, and you're looking at the bottom half of that draw, I mean, it's Cross versus Peter Wright, potentially.
Yeah, for a place in the final, effectively, some might say.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but... I mean, ultimately, 60. You've got two of the hottest players, or big, in-form players, playing each other in round 3. Only one of them's going to make it through.
140.
Yeah. So, with all those unseeded players there, one of the big two names are going to be taking each other out.
Yeah, Mensah still in that bottom half as well. He plays later against Steve Beaton. That's in the final match of the
83.
day.
You require 86.
Well, this is a huge, huge chance for Joe Cullen for the first break of throw. No need to go 18 for bullseye, which is why he moved over to the 20s. So down to the bottom left bit of the board here.
54.
Yeah, leaves himself double 16. He will leave that wherever possible, Joe Cullen. Captain Jimmy may be about to go behind for the first time. Well,
57.
Yes, for the first time in this.
You require 32. Game shot on the 5th leg. Joe.
And that's exactly the position he finds himself in.
Joe to throw first.
Joe Cullen with the break.
Game on.
Just needs to maintain this, and as we said, just try and build up as much of a cushion as he can. He will be wary of the
58
threat or the potential threat of a fight back from Jimi Hendriks, but the crowd have just lulled again here. Yeah,
there's nothing there, is there? But the thing is, Jimi Hendriks, if he is going to make use of this crowd, he's got to give them something to cheer. And a 78 average is not going to elicit much of a response, as passionate as they may be here. Although I have to say that the Dutch crowds in character do tend to be a little bit more reserved than the German ones. I think if we had 5,000 people, if we were playing in Dusseldorf or wherever, and it was a German player, I think they'd be bouncing off the walls.
At any ton plus score.
Well, yeah.
That comes their way.
$99.
Dutch Darts Masters moving from Venray here to Maastricht this year. Prior to Venray, we used to play in Veldhoven. That was about a quarter of the size of this in terms of capacity. In terms of floor space, it was about an eighth of the size.
Newland was the venue for the first one. 2 venues in Holland on the European Tour next year. We're in Zwolle as well.
174.
Only man happier than Joe Cullen about that 174 is Kirk Bevins, who...
just giving him that licence.
Yeah, loves a 170 plus score, does Bevins.
59. Joe, you require 74.
They'll have to come up with a new name then for the, well, it'll be the Dutch Darts Masters, and I assume the Dutch Darts Open for the other one.
Quite possibly.
Game shot on the 6th leg.
But that is a 15 darter for Joe Cullen to establish a 2-leg advantage. And this, having seen so many of the seeded players fall by the wayside today, this is exactly what Joe Cullen would have wanted to do. Just go in there and put in a solid display
58.
where he's managed to win. I mean, of the 4 legs he's won some of them under no real pressure. There you go, 16, 16, 13, 15. It's solid stuff from Joe Cullen. In fact, what's that, 60 darts for 4 legs, 100 average for your winning legs. Solid stuff.
He has silenced the crowd
140.
Here. Even the ton 40s from Hendriks not getting much of a response either.
Yeah, it's just not... He needs to put some good visits together consecutively.
140.
Firing an 11 or 12 darter, try and get the crowd back, perhaps try and get... Well, he's going to have to get a break of throw, but he's just got to give them something to shout about. We saw him get very, very animated and do everything he could to
59.
Get the crowd whipped up last night against Rene Burns, and it worked. Hey, look. As Wayne Mardle said, he felt that sometimes he wasn't good enough to win a darts match conventionally. 57. He had to win by other means. And it worked sometimes.
Winning ugly.
Winning deviously.
$100. Joe, you require 164.
Stopped in his tracks there, literally. Jimi Hendriks. Cullen looking at 164. Not to be.
64.
Knocks off the 64 to leave a 2 darter. Hendriks. Some players will go for the 18s here. Well, it's the 20s he went for and doesn't get it. Cullen, a real chance for 5-2, and it might be, with another breaker throw, the penultimate nail in Captain Jimmy's coffin.
128.
Good setup.
You require 100.
Tops. Was it 16s he looks at? Yeah, well.
That's what Alan
Treble
Norris,
for double.
Yeah.
84.
Alan Norris did that earlier, having taken tops out, he then switched. And
well, Norris, who knows which way Alan Norris is going to go.
Game shot on the 7th leg. Jimi Hendriks.
now, yeah.
Big leg is Joe to throw first.
But it is a leg for Jimi Hendriks, who cuts the gap. Not out of this.
140.
No, not by any stretch. And Joe will be well aware of that as well.
$100.
96 average.
59.
This is a very Cullen-like display. We have seen him average, the big ton pluses, but your typical Joe Cullen display, it's a sort of mid to high 90s, hitting 40% of his darts at double. He's actually hitting more than that. He's on 66% in the minute. But a 180 from Captain Jimmy, his second. Maybe
87.
the Dutchman can make his move here.
He is in good position, isn't he? That said, well,
20.
That is just completely
180, 28.
slipped through his fingers there.
In the words of the great Rod Harrington, two-time world match play winner and faith healer, he's cut it in half.
129.
And Joe has just got himself back in front here. That said, Hendriks can get himself back on track here with a
140. Joe, you require 86.
Wonderful dart. Gives him 2 for the leg.
Game shot on the
Fantastic
8th
stuff from
leg.
Joe Cullen there. He was under serious
Jimmy
pressure from
throw
Jimi
first.
Hendriks, who fired in that 180 earlier on in the leg to put him in charge. But Cullen fought back superbly. Admittedly, that shocker of a visit from Hendriks cost him. But 71%. It's that kind of finishing that Jimi Hendriks produced last night, and it got him out of jail along with the crowd against an inspired Rene Burnt. But Joe Cullen's finishing here has been magnificent.
Yeah, Hendriks with that visit of 28 really knocked the stuffing out of him, and it just allowed Cullen to kick on there and re-establish that 2-leg cushion. And he's now 1 away from a meeting with either Michael Smith or Roby John Rodriguez tomorrow in the last 16 here in Maastricht.
134.
Well, look, Hendriks knows. Hold his throw.
Force
One
the
break.
issue.
That's all he needs.
Force the issue. That's all he can do.
84.
That was a vital last up. But he's still not down to a finish. And Cullen may well get there first.
97.
Leaves the 170. We've seen that taken out already today. Leave double one, Captain Jimmy.
Go on.
150.
Fair enough. It's a perfect setup shot. And he's going to get a go at the double 16 to make it 5-4, to ask the question of Joe Cullen, can you hold your throw and close this match out?
Yeah, just applying some pressure. Still needs to find double 8 here, though. Double 4 chasing round the board.
24.
This is gettable.
Shame about that last visit from Cullen with 59. It's left him 1-1-1. That's 51 away now. Yep. 16.
79. Jimmy, you require 8.
One match dart missed. The 9th missed against Jimi Hendriks this weekend. Double 2. And the charmed life of Captain Jimmy goes on.
Joe to throw first. Game on.
One missed match start at double 16 for Joe Cullen. Will that come back to haunt him?
He needs a big leg here, Hendriks. That's a blocker, so switches down. Should be able to follow that into the treble. Does exactly that. But one treble visit may not be enough for him.
Especially with Cullen having posted just 93. And that will hurt as well.
98.
Ooh, well.
10 points difference in the averages here. Mid-90s for Cullen, mid-80s for Hendriks, but still just the one leg between them.
$85.
10 points in the averages, 10 points on the scoreboard as well between them. Cullen,
59.
Again, struggling to find trebles here.
Cullen got that break in the fifth leg, established a two-leg advantage in the sixth leg, and he's just been holding off Hendriks, just trying to keep him at arm's length. But he's not kept him sufficiently far away to be safe.
And Hendriks is down to a finish of 140. Can Cullen get back into contention here?
93. Jimmy require 140.
It's a big ask if Cullen gets the opportunity.
Treble 20 causes all sorts of problems for Joe Cullen.
60.
Well, it leaves him 80. It should mean he gets one dart for the leg if he returns. And he will return for the break of throw that he needs.
58. Jimmy require 80.
Captain Jimmy. He's only hitting 1 in 4 darts at double. He's got 2 for this leg. We're going all the way. And Hendriks has just become favourite for this one.
Final leg is Jimmy to throw
Now the
first.
crowd have found their voice.
Game on.
Maybe a gulf between them as far as the average is concerned, or at least there was not so long ago, but that counts for very little now. Hendriks in the ascendancy. 14 dart leg to get him back on terms at 5 apiece.
100.
The first time that Jimi Hendriks has won a leg in 5 visits. Everything else has taken 6 or 7. Just when he needed it, the captain has produced his best leg of the match. And if he can produce another one here in 15 darts or fewer, it might well be enough.
Needs trebles. Ooh,
45.
That will be devastating for him. Joe Cullen needs to pounce all over that.
137.
Great response. Joe Cullen has already missed 1 match dart. Only missed 3 darts at double in this tie game, but one of them was at double 16 for 111 checkout and a 6-3 win.
140.
Ticking over nicely, isn't he now, Jimmy?
And you could see
Good
a bit
response.
of a celebration, and the crowd responded. And that's great stuff from Joe Cullen. Started on the 19s, made sure that he left the finish. We've seen a 170, we've seen a 167 today, but this 167 would trump the lot.
167.
Treble 20, treble 19 bull. Not going to happen.
Well, at least Hendriks was thinking clearly there, leaving himself.
93. Jimmy, you require 160.
160. The roof will come off if this goes. The roof is intact for now.
92.
Well, that's his 5 visits done and dusted, Jimi Hendriks, and he's not got the leg
74.
one, so he's probably going to have to survive another match dart. It's going to be 2 he'll need to survive.
Game
But
shot.
survive he does not. And Joe Cullen asks the question of the crowd, what of it? Captain Jimmy, his charmed life here at the Dutch Darts Masters finally comes to an end. It looked like for a moment he was going to sneak another win. But Joe Cullen breaks through in the decider, books his place in the last 16. It is Michael Smith or Roby John Rodriguez who awaits the Yorkshireman as they fight it out for a place in the quarterfinals. We've got one more game this afternoon here in Maastricht. It is Mervyn King, the number 16 seed, against the Auckland Darts Master, the man who averaged almost 109 last night, the Australian Kyle Anderson.
I hear the commentators talk a lot about the rustiness of the players, especially the seeded players. How is your rustiness?
Exactly the same as everyone else's. It's 3 weeks doesn't sound long, but it's a really long time when you're not used to, especially the way the schedule was before. It was just every single weekend. Not played competitive darts for 3 weeks. Obviously the boys have been away on the World Series, so they've got sort of the edge on everyone else, but it's difficult, it definitely is.
You're through to the Sunday, which is always a hard thing to do, especially for the seeded players, because if you would have lost today, you don't get the money on your order of merit either, do you?
No, but you get it in your bank account. So a lot of players look at the rankings and things like that. Money's money, whether it goes on your rankings, whether it doesn't, getting paid.
All right, you're through to the Sunday. We'll see you back tomorrow. Dames en heren, door naar de volgende ronde, Joe Cullen! En dat betekent dat wij nog 1 wedstrijd te gaan hebben in de middagsessie. Een hele mooie.